All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday webinar. I'm Kate Christian. I'm the Corporate Sustainability Coordinator for EcoCycle, and I run the Green Star Business Network. It's a network of businesses that have self-selected to be leaders in sustainability in their given field. Today, we're talking to Laura LeVesque from ReCycle Colorado. I'm going to turn it over to her in just a second to tell you guys more about herself and get on presentation. But before that, I'm going to give you a couple of housekeeping tidbits. We have the YouTube playlist of all the other webinar recordings up on YouTube. I'll send a follow-up email with the link, including the video from this webinar as well. So take a look if you missed any of those. And then a cool thing that's going on that we just found out, that BIF is having they're hosting a drive-in for the International Film Festival here in Boulder. So I highly recommend, if you guys are going stir crazy, check out what they have showing. It might be a nice way to get out of the house and support a local nonprofit. We are, in July, going to be focusing on microplastics for our webinar series, starting on July 1st, with a lovely gal named Brittany from EcoCycle, who's going to give an intro to microplastics. We'll have a book and a documentary paired with the topic as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that information in an email as we move forward. Laura, take it away.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kate. So we are all here today. I want to talk to you about ReCircle, which is an online materials recirculation platform. But first, I just wanted to advance my slide, which is not working. There we go. I wanted to just introduce myself to all of you. So again, my name is Laura LeVesque, and I know that's a tough to pronounce last name. So it's pronounced LeVesque, and I am the programs director at ReCycle Colorado. A little bit about my background. I grew up on a small family farm in New England, and it was my job to take the compost bucket out every couple of days and empty it over into the field. My parents were salt of the earth people who believed in living off the land. So we recycled everything. Nothing went to waste. And I think sustainability and also recycling and composting was just part of my upbringing. So I'm delighted to be able to continue that with my professional career with ReCycle Colorado. I wanted to first of all just give you a high-level overview of what it is that we do at ReCycle Colorado. We are a statewide nonprofit organization, and we help advance recycling and composting. And we have three huge priorities. One is we advance the infrastructure around recycling and composting. This includes everything from the collection of those materials to the hauling of those materials to the sorting and processing. All of that is encapsulated under the infrastructure piece of what we do. The second component is we help advance end markets. What does that mean? Well, when you collect these materials, we need to be able to have buyers or end markets for those materials and be able to make those materials into a second life product. That is the second component of what ReCycle Colorado does. And the third component is that we work on local and also statewide policy. And I have a really exciting update to share with you guys on the policy front. This is just in, it just got passed last week. We sponsored a bill to incentivize the development of recycling end markets, and it passed, which is kind of a miracle in this legislative session right now. So we are so proud of this. And the bill really does three components. One component is we will be looking at developing a recycling end market innovation hub. So what this means is when we collect all of those materials, some of you out there might have a really strong idea of how we could transform that material into a new product or a second life product. And this center will serve as this innovation hub where we can test out some of those theories, see if that product that gets developed could be commercialized and create an even more rich, more diverse economy, circular economy right here in our state. So that's the big component of this bill. The second component, I would categorize it as looking at extended producer responsibility models that have happened in other states and looking at what could potentially work in our state. And the third part of this bill is a statewide recycling education program. So excited. This is a huge win for Recycle Colorado and for all of us. So let me talk a little bit about who all of us are who are members of Recycle Colorado. 42% of our members are for-profit companies, followed by government. This is municipalities, both at the town, city, statewide level, 28% government members, 15% citizens, 12% nonprofits, and also 3% universities. So clearly all of you watching today can identify with one of these categories. And also, I'll just put it out there, we would love for you to become a member of Recycle Colorado as well. Okay, well, we are here today to talk about what is ReCircle. From a high level, what I'd like you to remember is that ReCycle, first and foremost, is a waste diversion tool and a circular economy tool. It's an online platform to facilitate the diversion, recovery, and repurposing of materials right here in Colorado. We do that by matching producers of recyclable, compostable, or reusable materials with companies or individuals that can give that product a second life and also hopefully generate some new revenue opportunities as well. That's kind of cerebral, so I just wanted to give you an image of what the platform looks like. This is kind of a teaser. I'll actually log us into the tool so you can see it in more depth. But I'm a very visual person, and so I thought it would be valuable just to show you the layout. You can see different postings here of materials that are at their end of life or that are no longer wanted. People posted them here to make them available to perhaps you or other people that could be interested in giving a second life to those materials. So that is high level. In simple terms, you can think of ReCircle in these two ways. First of all, it serves as a materials hub where you can post materials that you no longer want, and you can search for available materials. And keep in mind, we're really focusing in on industry, large quantities of material. So if you think that your product should go on Craigslist, it should probably go on Craigslist. What we're hoping for is industry-wide materials hub. So that's the first component of ReCircle. The second component is a materials matchmaking, if you will. And I know that icon there is kind of funny, but it serves a purpose. So Recycle Colorado helps facilitate the match between the company or the entity that has that material and the folks that want or are interested in that material. And we act as the facilitator, the matchmaker in between, first of all, to make your life easier, and second of all, just to kind of vet through these opportunities that they are real and that we help facilitate any questions and getting answers to any questions that you have. We know that this model is a success story because it has worked very well in other states. Just to give you a rough idea, Ohio created its materials marketplace, and within the first year, it had some really strong results. Over 3 million pounds or 1.6 tons of material were diverted from Ohio's landfills and repurposed. It saved the participating companies more than $153,000 in costs because they didn't have to use virgin materials. They could repurpose materials that folks posted on their materials marketplace. So a couple of other interesting things about this program. Within that first year, they had 580 different organizations and businesses use the tool, and they had 163 materials listings as well. So we know that we have a really strong success model that we're trying to emulate. And now I wanted to walk you through what ReCircle Colorado actually looks like. I think I might have to switch to overall screen share. And, oh dear, let's see. Okay, let me stop sharing and then reshare. And it's not going to allow me to make my screen smaller. So let's see. Well, Kate, I am having a technical issue here.
No worries. Can we go back to that slide that you had on there of the example of what ReCircle looks like?
Yeah, we can. I wanted to actually log in. Let me see if this will work. Okay, I think we've got it now. Can you see the site?
Perfect.
Okay, beautiful. That's what we wanted to have happen. So this is ReCircle Colorado. This is what the home page looks like. If you scroll through here, you'll see some information about the tool, how it's a platform to connect people with materials, with people who would like those materials, how it's member driven. This tool is for the use of ReCycle Colorado members, and I'll talk about that in a second. And how this tool, ReCircle, is inspired by the circular economy, and it has some examples of the materials that are listed there. This is the landing page. When you go into the actual site itself, you will see the materials list. And here are some examples of materials that have been posted here. Some small cardboard boxes that are unused, some Teroxy 2-part hypoxy, some ski netting. This is kind of an interesting post. It came from one of the ski resorts who at the end of the season said, oh, I have all of this racer ski netting. What can be made out of this? Who might possibly want it? So they posted here. There's some filing cabinets on here, paperweights. All-purpose cleaner. This came from a huge manufacturing company down in Colorado Springs that just had an overbuy of this green detergent. We have I think this was a school that pulled out its gymnasium flooring, which is really good material. They just want to find a different home for it. So all of these listings, and let's pick one. Here's raised garden beds made out of reclaimed wood. If you see something that you like here, you can click on View Listing for further details. And what you'll see is some description about this product. So we do ask people to give a pretty good description of what the material is, give some pictures of it. If you're giving it away for free, please let people know that. If you're charging for it, let them know that as well. So this post did a really good job of it. In this case, they built raised garden beds out of pallet wood and pallet collars, and they are asking $16 each for it. And they have some really good photos here of it too. So this is a great listing. If people are interested in this particular posting, they can contact us 2 ways. They can either say, oh, I'm definitely in, I want that material, or I'm not quite sure, I'd like some more information. Either of these options will send an alert to yours truly at Recycle Colorado. And again, we act as that matchmaker to make sure that you get your answers, your questions answered, and we also help facilitate that introduction with the entity that has this material. Okay, let's go back to the materials list, and there's a couple of pages here, so hopefully that gives you a really good idea of the types of materials that you can find. What I also wanted to show with everybody is, what if you wanted to create a listing, right? We talked about this being a waste diversion tool. So if you are at a company and you have a byproduct material or an end of life material that you know could be used for a good second term by somebody else, you might want to create a listing. And to do that, you just simply click on create a listing, and it will bring you to this form, this online form. Can you see that okay? Okay, so you would give the listing a name, obviously, and then you would select what material type it is. And I won't go through all of the material types, I'll just scroll through them, but there are an awful lot of categories in here from which to choose from. And for some reason, should you not find the category of what you have is so unique, then you could just click unknown and continue by giving us a thorough description of what it is, what that material is that you have. So we do need you to put the description in here. We also mandate you have to upload at least 1 image, right? Seeing is believing. We want to see what that material is and what the condition is. So 1 to 3 photos, and that is where you would select the image. And then this information, your contact name, email address, phone, the city that you're in, your zip code, all of that remains anonymous on the posting. That information, in other words, your information, goes to only us at Recycle Colorado to be able to see it. So in that way, if someone says, oh, I'm kind of interested in that material, we know who to reach out to on your side. It's as simple as that. You create the listing, and once that's done, it pulls up here on the materials list that we saw previously. So I'm going to stop for the live demo part of ReCircle and go back to my PowerPoint. So sorry, I'm kind of shifting around here a little bit. And I think we left off here. Oh, guess it's not going to let me do that. Okay. So let me just recap what ReCircle is. ReCircle is an online site where you can, first of all, post recyclable or compostable or reusable materials. And second, you can also search for materials with a second life potential. That is the inception of ReCircle, but we have some additional grand vision for this as a platform, and I wanted to share that with you as well. What we want to incorporate into ReCircle is a transportation/logistics hub. And this comes into play. I'll give you a great example of this. There's a hotel company in Aspen who was refreshing all of their hotel furniture. They had mattresses, couches, all of this great stuff, still in really good condition that could be put to a good use. But they're in Aspen, and so transporting it from Aspen to another part of the state sometimes poses a problem. So we're trying to solve for that by incorporating in an app like an Uber application for the trucking community, so you can load share transportation going up and down the I-70 corridor, I-25. So that is something that we're looking to incorporate in. And ultimately, what we hope that ReCircle can do for our state is act as a raw materials and byproducts database. So you can imagine companies, if they all posted, here's my byproduct that I have in my manufacturing process. If we could have a database of what all of those materials are, maybe there's another company that uses your byproduct material as a feedstock for their process, hence adding to circularity in Colorado. And it's really difficult, I think, for companies interested in setting up shop somewhere in the US. We think that having this database of raw materials and byproduct materials that show, hey, come to Colorado, we have these companies with this byproduct. If you set up shop close in some kind of geographic proximity to this company, you have a pretty continuous feedstock coming to you. So this hopefully can act as an attractant for new businesses to come to Colorado. And ultimately, we really want to showcase and improve on our capabilities as a circular economy. So that was the end of my overview for ReCircle. Hopefully that gave you a really good idea of what the platform is. And I also wanted to share with you some other fun stuff that ReCycle Colorado has got going on too. In case you're interested, we have our big Summit for Recycling conference coming up at the end of August. You're hoping to do this as an in-person conference, as we always have. However, times have changed and we have put the entire summit online. It's going to be very, very robust. I wanted to share with you, in case you're interested in attending, a little bit of our programming. So on day one, it will be Tuesday, August the 25th. We'll have a keynote plenary talking about circularity. So you'll get an overview of what circularity is, what the state strategy for circularity is, and also we'll look at the municipal level. The city of Boulder just put out its circularity report, which is very compelling. So that's our keynote for day one. Then we go into networking. We have virtual booths for business partners to be able to showcase what they're doing, either their services or their products. So that's the networking session. And then we have 2 afternoon sessions. The first session, the first one is one that Kate Christian is actually leading, and that is industries that are working together to advance the implementation of their circularity goals. And that will be going on at the same time as our policy solutions for urban areas. Those are the afternoon sessions, and then the first afternoon time slot and the second afternoon time slot is tapping into grant funding. Like, who isn't interested in knowing about financial incentives and grant monies available? So we'll be talking all about grant funding and what kind of monies are out there that could be of benefit to you. And that session will run concurrent with our food waste reduction and recycling session. So that encapsulates day one, and then day two, our second keynote is all about extended producer responsibility. We've got an expert, she's gonna be fantastic. After that, we go into networking. And then our afternoon sessions, the first set is adding circularity to your business model. How can you incorporate this into your business? And that goes concurrent with organics recycling. This is really interesting as well. We're talking about how recycling of organics helps companies and it helps communities achieve their waste reduction goals. And at the same time, how composting is kind of nature's innovative tool to help us do carbon farming, which is when you apply compost, it actually helps pull carbon from the air. So it's a great strategy to help reduce climate change. It's a great strategy to increase water retention and to enrich our otherwise pretty poor Colorado agricultural soils. So that's a great session. And then that second time slot in the afternoon, we're talking about how we build the Circular Economy Innovation Center. Remember, in the beginning, I said we just passed this bill to build an innovation center here in Colorado. This session, we'll talk about, okay, we've got the bill passed. Now, how are we going to do it? So you definitely want to have a seat at the table for that one. And we're also running that concurrent to policy solutions to rural areas. So we hope that you are inclined to attend our Summit for Recycling conference. Again, I can't move my slides. But if you're interested in learning more about that, you can just check us out on our website, recyclecolorado.org. And I think, Kate, with that, since I am no longer able to advance slides, I'll just wrap it up and give it over to you in case there's any Q&A.
We do have some questions, and I have some questions. First, I'd love to hear a little bit more about becoming a member. Kind of dangled that a little bit. That's going to be pretty appealing for the businesses that I work with and that are on this webinar. If you talk about that a bit, that would be awesome.
Absolutely. Thank you for keeping me honest. Yeah, we love to have everybody on this call as a member. So ReCycle Colorado has a couple of different membership levels. The lowest level is to join at $125 per year. That's an individual business representative model offer. So you as a single representative of your company can join for $125, and that is also the level at which gives you access to the ReCircle platform. We also have a community membership rate. I believe that's $325. And then for our more collaborative partners, we do have 3 business partnership level categories, starting from $2,000 to $8,000. And that gives a whole lot more involvement, engagement, say in our direction, and access to our entire network of members and extended contacts as well, including those from our legislators, from our elected officials.
Great. Also, shout out to Spark Fund and Nick Benny and Miles from PMCU for writing emails to Senator Fenberg about SB 55. Whenever we have businesses actually step up and say something, good stuff happens. So kudos to you guys. Such a cool thing to be able to share with everything that's been going on lately. Having some of that good news to be able to tell people about is phenomenal. It gave me the warm fuzzies for sure.
Thank you so much for your support. This is great, and we can't wait to get started on bringing it to reality.
It's really exciting. There's definitely materials that a bunch of our businesses are handling right now that don't have a home, and if we could figure something out here in Colorado, that'd just be absolutely incredible. So we got a question about the amount of material. So what would the minimum amount of material produced by a company to qualify to post on ReCircle?
I would say if it's something like a toaster oven that is more suitable for Craigslist, that's obviously the better choice. But if it is a byproduct material, let's give it a shot. I mean, let's not limit it to a small quantity. Actually, that could really be helpful to kind of test it out and see if there's interest out there for that material. So yeah, go ahead and post it.
And then, so does ReCycle Colorado help with the vetting process of the materials that are posted? And how does that work?
Yep, absolutely. So let's say we'll take this example of the ski netting. Let's say that material looked really cool and you envisioned using it for, I have no idea what, but people are getting really creative in the time of COVID-19. So if you have an interest in this and you click on I'm interested or I have additional questions, it triggers an email that gets sent to yours truly. And I would look at that email, and if it's just, hey, I'm interested in it, I want it, then I will contact the owner of this material, give them the heads up that, oh, Kate's interested in this material. I just want you to know that I'm going to be introducing you to Kate. And then from there, the two entities start the communication process and figure out the logistics of how much it is, are you going to move it from point A to point B. There's also a form, a transaction completion form that kicks out that we ask that you complete and submit to us so we can keep track of that the transaction was finished, and that we also know to take this material down off of the site, that it's no longer available. So absolutely, we are the matchmaker, the facilitator between you, the person who is interested, and the company or entity that has the material.
Perfect. So back at the beginning, you said that 42% of members are from for-profit companies.
Yeah.
That spoke specifically in like the recycling industry, or is that really any type of business?
Oh my gosh, Kate, it is any type of business. I mean, obviously we have folks in the recycling community, but what happens more often is companies are really, they might be struggling to increase their waste diversion rates and to up their sustainability scores. And they have great ideas, but they're not experts in recycling and composting, nor should they be. So they really need some support, some assistance, some connection to a greater community, maybe some ideas on how other companies or entities have done that. So that is one of the benefits that we can help provide. And it's one of the reasons that a lot of for-profit companies become members, because they are really trying to increase their sustainability records, and they want to be connected with other entities that can help them do that. And then also tout their initiatives too. We have several members that have initiatives to use repurposed materials, you know, X% of repurposed materials. We have companies that say for every package that we put out there in the world, we want to retrieve that package back. So how can we as a manufacturer have an active involvement in helping recuperate those materials that we're generating? All of these types of initiatives are welcome to us. That is what we're here for. We're kind of the glue that helps put those for-profit companies in contact with companies that can help them get that, you know, reprocessed materials, or help them transform it, or help them transport the whole gamut of things. We're here as a resource for the entire state and community.
Awesome. Back to membership, because you kind of sold everybody, I'm assuming, with all that. For membership, does that include attendance to the virtual August 25th and 26th?
Yes, it does at the partnership level, not at the individual member level. So the 125 rate would mean that you are a member and you are eligible for the membership rate for the conference. And I also should mention, I forgot to, that attendance, the registration attendance for our 2-day conference is $199 for members and $225 for non-members. If you are one of those partners from the 2000 on up layer, then there are also embedded into that level of membership free tickets to the conference.
Awesome. Oh, sweet. And that's it. If anybody has any other questions, shoot them on over now, because I think we're wrapping up. You had reminded me actually of something I had wanted to say a little earlier. our next webinar is going to be on carbon farming. So as Laura was mentioning that, if you don't know what that is yet, you should definitely I plan on attending the next webinar. It's about how you specifically can be involved, your organization, and you as an individual in our carbon farming initiative. We got another question. You mentioned universities. Curious, have any school districts joined ReCycle Colorado as members? Being helpful to school districts specifically?
That is a good question. I know, actually, I believe there have been a couple of members that are working on recycling initiatives at the school level and composting efforts as well. And I don't have a lot of other information about what they're doing, but I do know that that was a reason why they joined our community, to get some support on that. So yes, there are members who are interested in connecting with the schools to help with school programs. And I will also mention this too, which is kind of interesting. This bill that we just passed, the End Market Innovation Center, we will be working with universities on this. We definitely want to get some really creative ideas from our academia population out there. So this is another fantastic collaboration opportunity for us to tap into the knowledge of our in-state universities.
Awesome. Laura, can you go back to your contact page? Well,
sure.
Just a heads up, everybody. I will send the recording back out to everybody in a follow-up email. It'll also go on YouTube. I will send Laura's contact information along with the links to the ReCycle Colorado website membership page and summit page. And then anything else, actually, Laura, if you want to include it in the, have me send it along, just send it over to me and I'll make sure it gets to everybody.
Oh, it's fantastic. Thank you, Kate.
Of course. That's it for questions. Laura, thank you so much. This was awesome. I hope everybody is going to become a member, especially once they watch the recording, since there is a good number of folks that weren't able to attend. This is incredible for us to be able to come together and really move Colorado towards a more circular economy. And we're only going to be able to do that if we're all talking to each other. So thank you so much for all the work you're doing.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you all for being on today as well.